And how does it sound? Albert, yes or no? I have not heard anything. But that doesn't mean it wasn't done. Does G mean good? Okay, I'm guessing it was. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the 10-Minute Trades Trade Room. We're here for the FOMC statement. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director for 10-Minute Trades. Remember, please, that all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. It is possible to lose money trading futures, so please trade carefully. Don't trade money you cannot afford to lose. Read the risk disclosure every time you trade. It's important. All right. So, I've been doing a lot of soul searching, a lot of testing. Yeah, everybody understands this is not a family money trade, but it is a trade that we have a setup for, and we trade it often, and we trade it often live. And it's a tough trade. It is a tough trade. And I made a video, and I'll show you a lot of the testing that I've done. First things first, let's get some other things out of the way first, okay? Let's check our time sync. We check our time sync by going to the website time.is. Why we do that, for people that are new, we do it because we have to. We have to be in sync because we're trading in time. So, if you're not in sync, usually it's minor, but sometimes if you're 2-3 seconds out of sync, that could ruin a trade. So go to the website time.is, see if your computer is in sync. All you have to do is click on time.is. It's not time.is.com. It's like futures.io, time.is, okay? It puts you in sync. That's number one. Now, we can check it again in a little bit. Sync can drift. And for the final time, we want to be in sync because we're trading at a specific time. Most of the time, we have breakout trades. Those trades trade at a specific time. All right. So I want to show you my new webcam. I think it's pretty cool. So I'm going to look into it, say hello, and turn it off. Hey, what a great picture, huh? Isn't it nice? Fancy glasses. That's my music screen over there. And this is my office. Pretty barren these days, pretty barren. And it's barren because I need a barren look for videos. If it's too goofy looking, it makes me look unprofessional. So that's a pretty good webcam. You want to compare it against a cheap webcam. That's like a $200 webcam. That's like pretty expensive for a webcam. And then here's a cheapy Logitech. And I don't think the Logitech is that bad, to be honest. If I can get it to work. See how the color is different though, and it's all messed up. You could see cheap versus good, right? Good. What a difference. Better resolution. Little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a little bit faded, but I have special software where I can adjust all of that. But anyway, that's me. I'm a real person. I like to show myself because I like to show that I'm just a normal, regular, everyday person. I'm not super special. I don't wear super special trading clothes or anything. I'm just like everybody else. I'm sure that everybody else is just like me. And that's like so important. What it means is if I can do this, you can do this. Okay. Now, this particular trade is not a family money trade. It's very potentially the trade of the week. It's potentially a trade that I could lose $1,000 on very easily. So I just want to give everyone a heads up. It's possible. It's very difficult to trade. Why? The breakout might not work. I mean, look what happened last month. None of my trades, the software couldn't keep up with my trades, okay? It couldn't keep up. I was trading the ZN and I was trading the ES, all right? I made money, but one of the trades was very difficult and one of the trades made money, and it's almost impossible to even tell which one at the moment of the trade, okay? It just was literally chaos, and we made $376. So what were some of the problems? Why was it so difficult? The ES was difficult. Part of the difficulty was the speed of the move. The market moved so fast that it was hard to get the orders on and ready for the exchange to be able to execute the orders. That's what can create great difficulty, okay? And I did some testing with different entry times and different ways of entering totally. And one of the things I did that was different, and one of the things I'm going to do today, you notice that my trades are already set up. I wanted to save some time, and I've been testing all morning, all afternoon. And I want to tell you the truth, I still don't know what I'm going to trade. I mean, I'm going to trade the NQ as a one-click range trade. I'm not going to do a bracket trade on the NQ. So let me show you how I would have done it last month if I would have traded it as an earnings trade. So let me see if I can get to the right date. I did so much testing. Bear with me. I hope I recorded. This is the one method I may not have recorded. Figures. Okay, so I don't think I recorded it. I think this is it. Okay. Let's take a look. So 15 seconds before the event news is released, I put my orders on the chart 16 ticks above the high, 16 ticks below the low, using a 6-bar look back. In other words, I'm looking back 6 minutes roughly, and I'm putting my orders above and below the market 15 seconds before the event. So the one very positive aspect of that type of a trade is you get your orders on the chart well in advance of the event taking place. So at a minimum, at least the exchange is going to be ready for your orders. It's not a last second issue, okay? When I did that, here's what happened one more time. So 15 seconds, it was really 10 seconds, 159.46. There go my orders. It was not 11 seconds. So I want to I don't want to be too close to the price until after 2 o'clock. I don't want to get filled early, okay? And it bursts down and pulls me into the market. And I think it would have worked that way last month, okay? I believe that if that really is what happened, it would have been a good trade. The same month, last month was extremely difficult on the ES, but I've tested the ES with an early entry time. It is risky. It's risky because there's a danger of getting filled before the report comes out. So my test on the ES is entering at 159.57 as a breakout trade. One of the things I like about the ES is I like the fact that the ES has a lot of liquidity, much more than the NQ. And then my third test is I also tested ZN, which is the 15-year bond, or the 15-year bond, also with an early entry. Now, here's the interesting thing. Bonds have been impactful for the last two statements in particular. If you go back further, bonds are less reactive to this news, okay? They're less reactive to the news. In the past, bonds have been both reactive and non-reactive, depends on the particular time frame you're looking at. But right now, bonds are tending towards reacting to important news. So I anticipate, like last report, last statement, I anticipate that bonds will have a pretty active response. Now, if you notice, they did respond. I just want to make sure they did respond pretty slowly when you get into April. If you notice, that was April, no response, okay? Not a very good tradable response in April. But when you get past April and you go to September, I mean, last month we know it was monstrous. You just saw it before. And then, but July on bonds, let me just see. Right now that's ES. Let me just see if I recorded bonds for July. Bear with me. Maybe I did not record bonds for July. Whoop. I did. There it is. Okay. So bonds, now bonds in July is right here. So here's bonds. That's 2 reports ago. 2 reports ago. 2 o'clock rolls around and you get filled in about 7 seconds. Pretty strong move. Hits the first target. Protect your profit. Okay. And you make, you have a potentially good trade. That's with an entry 57 seconds. So here's the dilemma. Here's the dilemma for today. It looks very clear. It looks very clear that you can trade NQ, bonds, ES. Now, our daily report has a setup for the NQ as a breakout trade. And I'm not saying it won't work, but a breakout can be tricky, okay? It can be tricky. Today, why today more than other days? Because everybody thinks that they're going to taper. In other words, everybody thinks something different is going to happen. And usually it's true, okay? Now, folks, if you're watching us on YouTube, give us a like. And I'm only going to say it once, this webinar right now. I'm giving a webinar tomorrow for all the people that have come into our trade room for free over the past 2 or 3 weeks. Come to the webinar tomorrow. www.fmt2021.com is the registration. I'm to the webinar tomorrow. Now, liquidity on the ES is pretty good. Liquidity on the bonds is pretty good. NQ is mediocre. Okay. We have a ballpark ES setup down at the bottom here, which I've tested. And as long as your entry is good, the ES should work. The NQ is a breakout, and I think there's a good chance the NQ can work. There's just a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of unknowns today because the Fed is expected to taper, and it just may create more of a chaotic entry. So it's important to just know the truth that this could be a high risk trade. Now, a lot of people like to trade this trade after the report, okay? For us, our DNA is generally to trade this at the time of the report. That's the way that we do it, okay? We trade it at the time of the report. Now, I'm thinking to trade the NQ as an earnings trade. And what does that mean? So that means I'm going to use a setup instead of the breakout trade. I'm going to use the one-click range trade. So I'm not going to be tied specifically to time. I'm going to be entering manually. I'm going to enter the trade manually. And I'm going to use 3 positions with a target of 10, 22, and 39 with a stop of 20. I'm going to use a stop at 22 ticks. And I'm going to have a second contract at my second target. So the definition of doing a one-click range trade, my look back, the number of bars look back is going to be 6. And then I'm going to just save my template and just slightly updating my template. FOMC NQ, I think I called it one click. I'll find it. Somewhere over here. FOMC NQ one click 11.2. So plus or minus 16 is the number of ticks above and below the 6-bar look back that I'm going to do. So let me explain. When I enable a one-click range trade on the NQ, I enable it and I get my buttons. When I click the one-click range entry, puts my bars, my orders on the chart, and I'm going to kind of manipulate them before the trade to see if I can catch the entry without getting filled before the report. That's the goal with the one-click range trade. And then, so the question is, am I going to trade the bonds or ES? And I think I'm going to trade, boy, this is a tough one. I'm going to trade bonds. So let me tell you what the ES setup that I have set up. The ES setup is a bracket of 6, bracket of 6, I have a slightly smaller first target. No, yeah, a target of 6. And if you use 2 targets, use a target of 25. And I have a slightly bigger stop. My stop is 12 on the ES. Stop of 12. Now the entry time, I would use 58. But I'd be very careful. I'd have my finger on the cancel button. If you think the market's too volatile before the report and you think you'll get filled early, then don't trade it on the ES, okay? You don't want to get filled before the report, all right? That's important. And then what I think I'm going to do, bonds have been moving really nicely on this report. And I'm debating this for 1 minute. There's something tugging at me that says trade the ES. There's something tugging at me that says trade the ES. Here's my bond setup, okay? My bond setup is a bracket of 5. Bracket of 5, 1 position for 5 ticks. 1 position for 15 ticks, okay? With a stop of 10 to 12 and an entry of 57. Entry of 57. Bracket of 5, target of 5, target of 15, stop of 10 to 12. It's up to you. And my entry is 57. Now I'm just debating if that's what I want to trade or if I want to trade the ES, and I might take 1 minute to decide it. So my NQ trade, I am trading, okay? And I'm just going to save my bond template one more time in case I need it. My NQ setup, I have to make sure my charts are set up properly. One more time, it is a 1-click range trade, okay, with plus or minus 16. Plus or minus 16. Okay, plus or minus 16. Now, I'm just thinking, no, there's no DMM. Well, no, if you want to trade the DMM, it's just a standard breakout. Standard breakout. That's up to you. I'm not saying don't do it. I would like a tiny bit more control over the orders. I could be totally wrong, Tess. If you trade the breakout, it's a bracket of 20, entries 59, targets of 20 and 40. You know I like a slightly smaller first target, and the stop is 20 on the NQ. So I'm not saying don't do it. I think there's a possibility it could work great. It all depends, it all depends on the kind of reaction that we get. It all depends on the kind of reaction that we get. So bonds, if I decide to go with bonds, let me record. Give me a second to try and get my recorder going. Oh, you know what? I'm a nut. I had my recorder going. I apologize. So there's a part of me that really wants to trade the ES, but bonds have a lot of liquidity. They have a lot of liquidity. And I like the liquidity idea. And I think it's going to be a pretty eventful move. And I'm going to make my bracket a 6. The targets are 5 and 15. My entry is 57. I'm entering early, so I have an opportunity to have my orders be completely ready. Okay? And I'm going to manage the NQ because my NQ trade is manual, right? Because 15 seconds or 20 seconds before ZN, test ZN, 15 seconds before 2 o'clock, if the NQ is safe, I'll put my orders on. If I don't put my orders on the chart, then I just won't have a trade. It won't do anything. And I'll still have my bond trade, okay? I'll still have my bond trade. So either way, I've got a trade going. If I feel like I can manage the NQ, and right now, it does look manageable, okay? Right now, the NQ looks fine. If I put my order, on Sim to show you where they're going to show up, when I enable my NQ trade, that's where my orders are going to show up. So I'll move like so, okay? And, you know, maybe we'll get an explosive move, maybe we won't. There's no way to know. That's what I'm going to try, okay? That's what I'm going to try. Am I going to be able to do it well? I hope so. Going to give it my best shot, okay? So that's my plan. 15 seconds. 15 seconds before 2 o'clock, I'll enable my orders. And it will create that range based on the previous 6 bars before 2 o'clock. Okay? That's what it'll base the orders on. So if there's a big burst and it goes in one direction, then I'll probably have a good trade on the NQ. And the same is true for bonds. If bonds burst in one direction, then hopefully I'll be able to take advantage of it. Now, bonds are going to trade no matter what I do. The NQ is only going to trade if I put my orders on the chart. My high orders are going to go up here. My low orders are going to be down here. How do I know that? Because it's going to look back 6 bars. So we've got 2 more bars. So the highs are going to be around here right now. The lows will be somewhere around here. That's how it's going to happen. Based on the position right now. So of course, you know, it's nerve-wracking, but it's kind of like earnings. Dutchie, we're going to have a master class on trading this way. Probably as part of an earnings master class. So I'm not talking because this really requires a lot of concentration. So I don't want to get too close, right? Okay, so the NQ caught me negatively for an $89 loss. Bonds, they really haven't responded much. I'm going to combine my orders. Okay, so this is kind of crazy, folks. After all this buildup, the NQ was the wrong direction, and I lost like 80 bucks. And I made 140 on bonds, so I'm up $67. After all that, we made $67 on the trade. I mean, I feel like I'm having a heart attack. Now, the trade's not over for some people if you understand, is there a trend, right? Is it unequivocally going to trend up? You could trade that one-click range trade again. I'm not going to do it because I always lose money when I try to guess the trend after the trade. But I could click the entry, and it'll put orders above the high and below the low. And that will pull you back into the market. But I'm telling you, every time I do it, I lose money. Now, right now, it looks like the market's going to go up. But I'm up. Now, let me think about this. I have to take back what I said. I did not make money on this trade. And I'll tell you why. Because we were up 240, so we lost 180. So let's be honest on this. Let's be honest. I lost a total of 180 on this trade. 174, because I was up 240 and now I'm up 67. So for total transparency, folks, so what that tells me is that the bonds, it was the NQ that didn't work, because the NQ, when we watch the video, I'll be able to explain it. I'll be able to explain it better. But I want to be completely honest. I did not make $67. I forgot about being up to 40. So it was a negative 180, being honest. And it was like I thought it was going to be, difficult to trade. There was no difficulty with the bond trade. It just didn't really give us much, okay? It wasn't that strong of a move. Now, if your charts are, make sure that all your trades are not enabled. If you change your charts, I want to look at the ES, because maybe the ES, who knows? Maybe the ES would have been the better trade. Okay, maybe the ES would have been the better trade. The only way you know 100% is by looking at a quick little replay of the ES to see was anyone watching the ES. Did it shoot down first or did it go up the whole time? And I always like to watch a little replay to see. So in other words, what I'm saying is on the ES, the price action, I want to see what the candle did. I think I know. But if I get the ES data real quick, okay, really quickly, ES is 1221. Okay, I can show you a quick replay of the ES. If you bear with me, I'm going to disconnect my current connection. I'm not going to run a trade. I'm just going to show you the replay of the data. So here's the ES playing back. If we go to today's 11/3, It'll take 1 minute, and then we'll go over the replay, and I'll show you what I think happened and why this trade did not work. And it was the NQ that got me. It was the NQ that got me. So the time I want is 1:59. Let's do 1:58. We'll watch the ES. Oh, we could watch it for a minute. 1 minute, we'll watch the ES. So everybody bear with me. I'm just going to replay the ES price action. Watch the ES. That's all I'm doing for 1 minute. Forget this clock. This clock is not what we're watching. Let me reset the time. Let me see if I can do it in 15 seconds so we don't have to watch it. 1:59, 54 p.m. So 6 seconds before this trade, this is what the ES looked like. Watch. Here's the price movement at 2 o'clock. There's the trade candle, okay? It went down first. It went down first. So that's what I was concerned about. That's what I was concerned about. It went down first. If I had my trade on, right, and I had a bracket trade, follow me here. If I had a 6-tick bracket at 1:59, watch what might have happened. Let's see if we would have survived. Let's see if we would have survived. It may not have survived the bracket. Here's how you can tell. So the time, we're now before the trade, 6 seconds before the trade. 5 seconds, 4 seconds before the report, 3 seconds. Right now, my orders are on the chart 46.16. My order is long at 46. That's the current price. So my long is 6 ticks below that. Okay? A 1.5 above, a 1.5 below. 44.50. 14.50 is my short. 14.50, that's the number we're looking for. 14.50 is our short. If price hit, look, it hits it, it passes it, I'm in the market short, and I get stopped out when the ES explodes to the upside. So that tells me you need a bigger bracket. You need a bigger bracket on this report, okay? Going forward, I would say a bracket of 9 on the ES. 9 to 10 would have made more sense because of today's volatility. This was not easy, not easy. But that explains difficulty with the ES, okay? Let's look at the video. Let's look at the video. Here's the current prices back. Okay, here's the current prices back. And let's look at the truth. The truth is, I can look at my account, and my account is up $67. I was up $240 before the trade. So I am correct that I lost $179. Okay? Let's look at the video. It's always a learning experience, maybe a little bit too much to manage. You know, it's possible. I don't think so. I felt comfortable managing everything. I think the NQ just whipped and we didn't see it with the naked eye. That's what happened with the NQ. Okay, that's what happens. So let me show you the video. And, you know, am I going to go cry in the corner? No. Oh, would I do it again? Yes, absolutely. I don't think there was anything wrong with the way that I traded. Okay? I don't think there was anything wrong with the way that I traded. I think sometimes you get a little bit of difficulty in a trade, and there's nothing you can do about it. It just happens. Give me a second. I'm having trouble saving this video. But are you going to go cry in a corner? Absolutely not. Never. I love this stuff, and I'll do it over and over again, better and better, practicing, teaching, learning, all at the same time. That's how it works. And I never cry in a corner. Would I have rather have made the $67? Of course. I thought initially I did because I forgot about the profit. So watch the left chart. That was my NQ. And we should be able to see what happened. So I'm adjusting my orders. It looked to the naked eye like it worked. Right now it's working. Right now it's working. It's in a profit. I know what happened. Okay? I know what happened. It hit one target for $50. And it gave me the $50. Okay? It filled one target. All right. See, it went short. It touched the target. You can see it. And only gave me one. And then it reversed and stopped me out. And that's what cost me the trade. Bingo. That was the problem. The NQ was like a negative 335. Okay. And then bonds gave me a little bit of money back. Bonds gave me some money back, and that gave me a little bit, a little bit. You could see bonds. Bonds had a little bit of a profit, not much. Looks like the maximum profit we got out of bonds was about $90. Okay? And actually the total, you can see it, 156.25 on bonds. So bonds barely gave us a positive trade, $1.50, and the NQ was a loser. So that's what happened. That's what the video allows us to do. It allows us to see the exact trade. Okay? Who's got a question? This was much less impactful than I thought it would be. The ES today looked like it had great potential, but not easy. We would not have used, if we're really honest, folks, we wouldn't have used a bracket of 9 or 10. I would not have used a bracket of 9 or 10. So we have to be honest. The ES would have been a loser. I would have lost. Okay. I would have used my bracket of 6. I would have entered at 57, and I would have had a full stop out on the ES and a full stop out on the NQ, if I'm honest. Blessing, there was no DMM on the ZB. Let me double check. Let me make sure that I'm telling you right. So here's the daily report. And there's only NQ DMM, only NQ. I was using ZN, and I used a bracket of 6. A bracket of 6. Okay? And I used targets of, it's in the video, ballpark, 6 and 15 in that area, 6 and 15-ish. But I was using ZN. ZB has been much choppier every time I look at it. Now today it looks kind of interesting. It looked kind of interesting. But it did move up first. 1, 2. ZB, I think, would have been very safe. ZB looks like it would have been very safe. I would have used probably at least a 5-tick bracket on ZB. ZB would have been the best trade of them all. Truth. But it took 1, 2, 3, 4. You would have had to wait 4 minutes to get your fill. You wouldn't have gotten filled. So you might not have waited. You might not have waited. Okay, I used 5 and 15 on the ZN. Thanks, Albert. 5 and 15. My stop was 10 to 12, I said. 10 to 12. I didn't get stopped out. I was moving targets and stops. I was managing the trade. Okay, so nothing that we could have done because the NQ reversed so fast after the first target was barely touched, that there wasn't really any way of fixing that. That's the truth. If it would have been a bracket trade, very possibly it would have done the exact same thing and hit the target, reversed, and you wouldn't have made money because you would have had the bulk of your positions still on, okay? They would have still been on. All right, folks? So I hope you enjoyed this. You know, it wasn't a fantastic winning trade, but that's part of life. You know, we're always trying to find a way to beat this market, and sometimes I don't get it right. I didn't quite get it right. But still, you want to come to my webinar tomorrow, because where else can you learn to trade events in all the different ways that we do it? I think it's fun, it's challenging, we are making money. And, you know, next time you'll see, we'll make money next time. You gotta have faith. So come to the webinar, www.fmt2021.com tomorrow. And any other questions for me, folks? Any other questions? This is our last room of the day. What do we got going tomorrow? Here's what we got going tomorrow. We've got an early trade, Bank of England. Chantal, are you here? Are you here? Chantal, are you here by any chance, or are you not? Okay, tomorrow morning, another early start. Okay, 7:45 in the room for an 8 o'clock trade. Now, I think the Bank of England has a possibility of moving tomorrow morning also. Okay, similar reasons. People are watching all the central banks. People are watching all the central banks. There's no doubt about it. And then we have Thursday unemployment claims with non-farm productivity. That's a quarterly report that I like. I kind of like that. I might trade that with gold in the morning. And then we have our favorite nemesis, natural gas. Okay? Our favorite nemesis, natural gas. Friday, 2 big trades. Trading both simultaneously, US jobs, Canada employment. Not going to tell you now how I'm trading it. You got to come into the room. Blessing, what do you mean? I'm sorry. I know you're responding to something I said, but what do you mean? I'm just curious. Oh, nemesis. Yeah, CL's been a nemesis. CL's been tough. Natural gas has been way more profitable than CL, but every now and then natural gas is the devil in disguise. Okay? Every now and then natural gas is the devil in disguise, for real. For real. Who's got a question? I'm happy to answer any question anybody wants to ask. Anybody? Before we go. Any last question? Happy to answer. All right, so everybody's happy or unhappy. I hope educated, at least. You learned something from every room. And I'll see everybody tomorrow at 7:45. Be ready, because it's only 15 minutes until the event. 7:45, and then the event is 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern time. Okay? So I'll see everybody in the morning. Kind of anticlimactic. Not nearly as big a move as I would have expected. And interestingly, ZB had the most reliable move, it looks like. So I'll take a look. Maybe we'll do the EB. It's, we used to trade the EB on a lot of these reports. The ZB. Am I saying EB? ZB. So ZB tends to be whippier than ZN and less liquid also, but still pretty good liquidity. Okay, folks. I'll see everybody tomorrow morning. Take care.